welcome to the review podcast of 2019. Today we're going to discuss our best and worst trades, our best starting picks, worst starting picks. We'll also talk about who we're looking at in 2020, which should be interesting. Joining me as always, Big Enno. How are you, mate?
Jords, what's going on, buddy? Been a while?
Yeah, it's a couple of weeks. Been doing well though. So probably be the last podcast for this year. You're going to Europe for a bit.
Yeah, Greece for a couple of weeks. Looking forward to
Use the money you won from your cashy
that. Not for winning the grand final, but
for overall.
anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, you can talk about your cashy this week anyway. So for me this week, I scored 2,401. Was looking good until Sloan went down at half time. But not the greatest score, and ranked 446. So I think for me, I want to finish top 500 now. I take that. I'd like to finish a bit higher, but that's fine. Anyway, how was your week?
Again, looking pretty good until Sloan went down. Well, before that, actually, Rowan as well. You got Rowan, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was about even with this guy in my cashy semi-final. I finished on top. I lost last week, so obviously needed to win this week to get to the prelim, and we're about even after the Saints game or whatever. You know, he had Hunter Clark who went like 110. Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair play. But then Rowan got injured and he only got an 80, and then he had Hooley who got 100. So I was down by about 40 points or something. 37, I think, and it was Sloan versus Hearn. Half-time, looking good. Sloan's up by about 30. I'm like, yep, turn this into 130, 140. Hearn about 90, 100, and I'll get home in a close one. And yeah, Matt Crouch shoulder straight to his skull, and rest is history. Lost by 14 points.
I lost probably $300 or something.
I mean, I was watching Hearn sit on 52 for about the whole entire second half, thinking I'm actually still a chance here, but it wasn't to be.
Hearn for me has not worked out, and Sloan for you has not worked out.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So we'll look at our trades for this year. So obviously I've done 30 trades. Did my 30 last week. So for me, my best trade, go for the best trade first. So for me, Setterfield's been okay. I traded him out when he got suspended at the beginning of the year to Riley O'Brien. And that was a nice cash grab.
Yeah.
Because he made a lot of money. Could have made 400,000, but I cashed him in for when he made 300,000. And he got me Josh Dunkley. So that when Dunkley moved into the mids. So that was really nice. And also Jack Steele did not work out for me. I still think he has it in him to be a premium, but we'll see. And maybe one day. And I had the choice between Bont, Merritt, Yo, and a few others, and I went for Bont and Pelly. So getting Bont in the buy rounds has been really good for me.
Yeah.
So your best trades?
I covered you with the Setters to Rob trade, but I feel like Rob, the best cash cow this year. So you can't not make note of that. We'll talk about in starting picks, but I started Devon Smith. Cue the laughter. But I went to Boak in round 3 after Devon had a couple of shockers, and Boak was torching it. So that turned out good. And the last one I've got is, I think it was when Marshall was about 470k, and I went Walsh pretty much almost straight to him. I think it was for about 30 or 40k difference. And that's obviously turned out beautiful. So
you would have got him in the 500s or 400s for Marshall.
Marshall, yeah, just under like 480, I think he was.
That's a good deal.
So worst trade?
Well, I have 3. This year, I'm not sure I've really torched many trades apart from the ones I'm about to say. I think all my trade-ins have been okay. Okay, Shannon Hearn is one of my worst ones, paying 600 for that idiot.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened to him. Ever since his hamstring, he's just not getting as much ball in defence. And I think the first few weeks he was kicking shorter a bit more, so maybe didn't want to ping the hamstring. And then, so round 3, I was like, Heaney is playing forward and he's injured, so I traded him to Kelly. 3 weeks later, I'm like, Kelly's going to get tagged.
Yeah,
And
I don't get the second one. What was the thoughts with the
Heaney's
second one to go get rid of Kelly? Did he
just
just
chasing points. And
did
he
he?
pissed me off because I didn't actually like Kelly that much of a pick. And that was a misjudgment by me.
Yeah, okay.
So, because he had like a tendency to drop crap scores.
I don't mind the first one. I just don't know about the second one
And then,
because
well, there was a third
yeah,
one as well.
yeah, I know.
And then I was like, oh, Tim Kelly's going to win the Brownlow. Give me Tim Kelly back. So Heaney was training 30 minutes a week. And I'm like, I don't want none of this. I'm not dealing with it. And Heaney's been fine. I think it's because, like, when you got a sore ankle or minor tear in your ankle, whatever it is, when you're out there and you're managing yourself, you're fine. The
Yeah,
next morning, he'd be pretty hard to get up, I reckon.
yeah, and
But
then he just probably doesn't train. So yeah. Anyway,
so
I'll
that's cost
save you
me
talking
big
about them.
time. If I do get, so if I lose Sloan this week, that's where it's gonna cost me big time.
Yeah, they could have a trade or two up your sleeve.
But anyway, we'll talk about lessons learned, and I'll talk
Yeah.
about a few things there. So your worst trade?
Look, I was trying to find a terrible one. My worst one probably is the Hearn trade. The weeks leading up to it, I swear I was saying I don't want Hearn. His scores are just, KOTD, kiss on the dick. He doesn't do much, but I just felt like I had to get him anyway. He was putting out 120s for the rest of the year. I didn't have him. Obviously wasn't going to make any ground. I got him in for 1 week, and then I think it was a week after he missed with his hammy or whatever. And then the second worst trade I've got is what trade I had to do to trade Hearn out, and my options were like, I mean, they weren't great. I'll say that it was Salem, Nick Newman. I was tossing and turning, but I went with Salem in the end, and I was so close to going Newman, but yeah, after that 160 from Newman last week or week before, I think he's beaten Salem in the past month by like 100 and something points,
Trying to copy my
almost
draft
200.
team.
Do you have him?
Salem.
Oh, you got, yeah, yeah. Anyway, been pretty decent with trades this season. Um, Still got the one left, so we'll see if I have to use that on Sloaney or not.
I hope not, because he's just found form again. And he didn't get
Yeah,
tagged, which was nice. He's been tagged a lot lately.
yeah.
So, best starting picks. So this is where the real skill comes in the preseason. Don't worry about trades. Trades are luck and form and all that. So
Oh,
that's not true.
it's the exact
Uh,
opposite.
yeah. So
Ah,
my best starting picks was Lockie Neal. I picked him for his durability and consistency, and he exceeded my expectations. So I had Jack Billings here, who I traded out. I didn't mention that in my worst trades, but I traded him for Boak round 2 or round
yeah,
3.
okay. I guess that just
Because
makes it not as terrible.
yeah, but he's been pretty good. He had a few
Yeah, yeah,
160s or something. Also Zach Williams, pretty common pick. So I think back half of the year he might be like the best defender possibly. Because he was averaging 84, I reckon, in the first 6 weeks or so.
yeah. I think post buy is, up 1 or 2. I think.
I don't think I'll start him next year. I don't. He's a bit of a Michael Walters about him in terms of staying fit.
Yeah,
I don't
a lot of
know.
niggles.
Yeah, I think I've counted about 10 this year, including JLT. And then I have Sloan here with an asterisk because he's 2 mid-game injuries. But I
Mm.
think he would have been a good pick for 520k. So Billings and Sloan were my pods, and it's good when your pod kind of works out, even though both didn't fully work out for me. But um, yeah, I think especially Neil. Neil's only about 20% or something.
Yeah.
Your best starting picks.
Um, I went with you on Williams. I think that's a no-brainer. 101 average now. Missed just the one game, I think, from memory. Um, I got Brad as the other one. He's still on my team. I can't fault the man. I know he butchers it a lot, but he's still averaging 101. And of those sort of 400k picks at the start, like him, Sheed, and Libba, he's been the best of those three. So hats off to the man. And I didn't write it down, but I have to pick Clary. I think he started pretty bad. I was frustrated with him for a bit, but even with Melbourne being as bad as they are, he's still at the 110 average. So, got to give Clary some props for sticking through the year. He's been pretty good.
I think I'll be picking him next year in the starting team.
Yeah, I think what was his starting price this year? I can't remember.
620.
Yeah, so I was a bit high, but I mean, he's done all right.
I remember all the starting picks. I spent so much time on my team, so. So my worst starting picks. So I went for 5 pods in my starting team, and starting too many pods, I'll talk about that after, but can backfire for a number of reasons, but it can pay off, but it's probably more chance to backfire. So Wayne Miller, ever since I think it was Pierce Hanley, busted his AC joint, I think he hasn't been the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think the Crows kind of messed around with his role. He's been back and forth in forward and defence, and he is not what I expected this year. First 6 weeks he was good, 95 average, but he did get injured, so I got rid of him. But he hasn't been that guy. I will watch him over the preseason because I think he's going to be a forward defender next year.
Okay.
Probably not going to pick him, but the talent and potential is there. He just needs to put it together. Mm-hmm. So I have Jack Steele, who said that he was never going to tag in an article. He says, I haven't practiced tagging, and
how many times did he tag?
I reckon 60% of games.
6? Okay, more.
How many? No, more than that. He's tagged Sloan twice. So, and he is just, I don't know. I think he has it in him. He did it for half a season, but maybe he can't do it for a full season. And then I wrote this before he's 160 this week, but Matthew Crouch, who I can't believe Bradley Crouch has exceeded Matt Crouch pretty much because Matt's missed games. I expected more from him. He has the game to do better, but he hasn't given us a 110, which is what we were wanting. He's on 104 right now and 3 missed games and a mid-game injury. So that's not ideal. Not ideal at all, especially when everyone else has Oliver and Trelaw and whatever. But I'm not putting him on my never again list, but I think he is on a lot of people's never again lists.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Your worst starting pick?
Look, I was looking for heaps, but a lot of mine, a lot of my bad picks, or a couple of my bad picks are from trade-ins, like the Hearn and the another one was Daniel I didn't mention, but as far as starting picks goes, Devon Smith, I mean that's the big one. No one really started him, and he was just I know he got injured in the end, which you couldn't see, but from what he did in my team, I think he averaged 60 for 2 rounds in my team, and then he was gone. Another one, I guess I could say, would be Libba. I mean, he scored pretty good for like 6 rounds, and then, or 5 or 6 rounds, and then he had a couple of 50s, and then I got rid of him before a big price drop. I mean, I guess they would be the 2.
Libba is a bad starting pick, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Who?
You mean Libba is a bad starting pick?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think he was.
You
good.
don't think so? I mean, he only lasted 6 rounds. Yeah, I guess so.
If you traded him, if you held him too long, then maybe.
Yeah, I think he did 1 week too long. Yeah, he did alright. I think I got 140k from him. So, yeah.
You got pretty good if that was one of your worst picks.
Yeah, I might explain why I'm top 200 then. Humble brag.
We know, idle. So worst misses for this year. So who have you missed? So for me, I missed Stack. I think it was the
Yeah,
same
that's
week I
a tough
did
one.
with Miller, but didn't expect a first year player. Was he from the rookie
Yeah.
list?
Oh, I mean, he got didn't get went undrafted, and no one wanted him apparently because of his habits and stuff. Like there's that story that I read. Did I tell you that when he brought KFC to like a meeting
Oh
with an
no.
agent or some shit, he just brought like a ultimate box in or something,
Oh no.
and just ate it in front of like a coach or something. So not yeah, I mean, all the teams went past him, and the Tigers took a chance, and then yeah, I didn't see it coming. No way.
He's been good in the forward line and in defense as well, which is pretty
Yeah, what happened
amazing,
was
really.
Shorty. It's the same week he debuted, and then Shorty snapped his elbow in the same week, and so he took Shorty's role, played remarkably well there for 10 weeks, 12 weeks. Shorty came back. Shorty went back to his role because he's a halfback wing up. Like, he's got a long kick, whatever. Stack. Dimmer obviously still wanted to play Stack. He's been killing it. Moved him forward and just dropped like Butler, I'm pretty sure, at that time. And he kicked 4 against the Saints that week. So yeah, he's in our best 22 for sure. And yeah, no one saw that coming.
And for me also, I missed out Whitfield, Hearn and Lloyd for the first half of the year. Whitfield was going 120, Hearn was
Yeah,
about 116 and Lloyd was about 120 as well. So I missed all of those big scores in the first half of the year, which is probably why I'm not uh, higher than I am. So,
yeah.
so your worst misses?
Yeah, I think just on that, I think yeah, you had to start at least one of those. Obviously, I know you went for the cheap defense option, but I started Whitfield, who obviously got injured eventually, but
Scored a
if
million points.
having that 120 average for a couple of months was pretty handy. I've got Bont as my biggest one, and then I probably can throw, I mean, as much as I hate to, Trelaw in there. They're probably the two
Yeah,
misses. I've put like, when trading in midfielders, I traded Merritt ahead of both of those, and then obviously Sloaney, who I was happy
no
with.
good.
He was, 110 average, and then the past month he's had a couple of 70s, and then obviously on the weekend. So yeah, Bont and Trelaw, my two big ones, and then I can't think of any others really. They're the two, I would say.
So our lessons we've learnt this year. So you said before you haven't learnt anything because you know everything, but that's fine. Um, so what did I learn from this year? I learn a lot every year. This year, I think last year I made dumb trade-ins. Like I traded Blake Acres and Jesse Hogan last year. I don't know why.
Oh,
Jesse Hogan didn't
yeah,
hold his role, and Acres did his groin the week I traded him in, but he has like based on 5 rounds of 100 average. I just thought he's playing. I think it was wing and
yeah. He was a one. He was just in
one
a
month
vein of
wonder.
form. Yeah, yeah. I was trying to think of something
So
there,
yeah,
but yeah,
I don't know why. I just needed someone cheap with it or whatever. So I don't trade in guys like that, which I didn't do this year. So everyone I traded in was pretty good. Maybe
it's
Robbie
tough though.
Gray.
Because what about Rowan?
What do you mean?
I
Like
s-
being
well, I
unproven?
sort of had yeah, I sort of had the same
I think
mindset,
it's
and yeah,
well, I think it's you get to kind of try and get a feel for the player, and like when I do my player research, I look at their Instagram page, I look at their interviews, and I look at the big footy boards. That's how I pick plays
that's the
because
number one you
you
look at.
you. I want to do a video on this next year. This is how I pick plays is like you get a feel for their professionalism.
Mm,
Watching Rowan talk, I was extremely impressed, and I just thought he has the role for it. He actually scored really well in previous years' preseason games.
okay.
So, and he had another preseason under his belt, and I was just thinking, he's a ruckman. He can score. And his game, he would explain in the early rounds this year, he built his game around not winning in the ruck and winning at the ball around the ground.
Yeah.
But he's actually improved his tap work a lot as the season's gone on, which has been a bonus. So that's why he was scoring, like averaging 95, 100, and then all those 130s came in as
Mm,
his tap work increased. And he got better at that. So it's really hard to get a feel for a player like that. So anyway, I've gone on to another planet. So
That's all right. That's good.
so yeah, getting a feel for the players you trade in, not making dumb trade-in options, and also just quickly from round 1 to 6, I think the goal is to hold your trades. And so this year I didn't have to do any rookie corrections, which went a long way. I think because I wasted so many other trades that if I had to make those rookie corrections, I would have been in big trouble. So yeah, whole trades 1 to 6. So even like Josh Dunkley, who was averaging 80 in the first few rounds, 80 is not a disaster. So maybe just hold him and hopefully gets his roll back. So
That would have been tough.
can you think of anything that you were?
Yeah, I mean, of course I did, but um, my main one that I could think of was don't get fancy with the captaincy choices. Like I've been flirting with the top 100 for like a month or so now, and the other week tried to throw the captaincy on Dunkley, and he just has a bit of a pod, but he only got about 80 or something, and it cost me
Yeah,
it cost me being in the top 100 for maybe a couple of weeks, but yeah, I mean the other one is um, like I've been loopholing Heaney and Hawkins as well for the last month in my forward line, and I don't know, it's given me an absolute pain in the ass just because I have to worry about who of them's going to score better.
yeah,
So I know it's good having cover, but I think I don't. I was so set on having like a premium as a cover, whereas like it's fine to have like a Chol on your forward line bench or a. I mean, we've been lucky. We haven't copped a lot of injuries. Well, I haven't anyway. So to have to use like my cover. So, I could have had Chol, a mid rookie, a back rookie all playing and then spread the money that I would get from Heaney out to like, maybe have Bont instead of Brad Crouch or, instead of having Salem have like Roy Laird or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, I've been praying for Carnage so I can actually get an advantage with having Heaney on my bench, but yeah,
yeah.
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Never again list. So
Yeah.
for me, I have 4. Michael Walters, I don't care how well he played this year.
You never
I
had him. You didn't even have him this year.
I know he was a great pick this year.
You
Last
didn't have
year,
him. He's had his best year, Supercoach wise, right? But
I
he's
don't
on your
care.
never again list.
I saw it firsthand last year. He had about 6 injuries. And then when I held him through 2 or 3 injuries, I'm like, finally, like he's getting a run. And then he gets suspended in the bye rounds. I'm like, piss off, you idiot. Nope. So Dane Beams is done.
Oh yeah.
Tom
Interesting.
Rockliff's done. So go on.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. We'll ask Lang about that one.
Yeah. Stephen Canello. No, not happening.
At Carlton?
No, not interested. Canelo actually has a pretty long injury history. Last year he was
Mm,
good.
yeah. I've actually never owned him. So there you
Lucky
go.
you.
This is rough putting Rory Sloane, but I've put him there. Cop's just a lot of tags, and when you see a player get tagged, and their next teammate right next to him getting all these possessions, it just like I hate having to go into a game, not going in, like I'm going into the game, but like about to watch a game or whatever, and like worrying is my player going to get tagged or not, like that, because like if he does, he won't be able to shake it. Um,
The games he has got tagged
Whereas
this year.
Five gets tagged, and you're like, well, who cares? He'll break it anyway, and he'll get 100 for you at least.
We all can't be in that five, mate.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. I'll just get the blokes who don't get tagged, gull it up, and then we'll be fine. I didn't have him this year, but Dusty, I think that's rough to put another like superstar like him on never again list. But if he's still just a mid, I mean, I'm not going to pick him. Put it that way. Richmond don't have high super coach scorers. I know Hooley's probably been the best of our lot this year, which says something. So unless he's a forward, then I'd probably pick him. But if he's just a mid, then I'd say no. And after watching Christian Salem over the past month, mate, honestly, I'll never get this guy again. He gulls it up. He was on 11 disposals at quarter time on the weekend. Only had 34 points. Whatever, that's good. Ends on 65. How do you do that? Or 70, I think. Like, what are you doing, mate? Not getting this bloke again.
I think I'm going to pick Salem next year.
Oh, I'm not starting him. I'll tell you that much.
No, I'm not. I'm not. Just joking. But I think he has it in him to do okay.
I think he does, but I'd have to see a lot of it first before I go with him again.
Now, 2020 watch list. So I've been thinking about 2020 for a while. I don't know. I like messing with the starting team. I think it's really fun.
Yeah. Well, you got no trades either, so.
Yeah. So
yeah, this time of year, what are you meant to do?
So who am I going to watch next year? So I'm going to keep an eye on Tim Taranto, but I think he's an AFL fantasy guy, not so much a Supercoach guy.
Yeah.
A bit like, I think Zach Barrett historically has been more fantasy, I think, and same with Adam Treloar. But Adam Treloar's still been okay Supercoach, but much better fantasy. Sam Walsh, the chosen one, as I call him. He plays.
What's he like in fantasy?
I know
he's Supercoach, but anyway, sorry to put you off guard, but I imagine he'd be good because his disposal obviously doesn't come into it. He gets, high 20s tackles.
93 in fantasy. Wow. Okay.
Wow. Pretty good.
Sky's the limit for this kid. I just think. Does he play mostly? I think he gets a few centre bounces, but I think he's mostly wing.
He
outside.
is, yeah.
That's a problem for Supercoach mids. Because apart from Whitfield, I don't recall a wing player going over 110. Although I don't think Whitfield has actually gone over 110. He's 107, but he's had injuries. Yeah, he'll be priced at 93. Be in the 400s, I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, it's 80 Supercoaches, isn't it?
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, 88 is his Supercoach average, isn't it?
Okay. Oh, right. Yeah, I was talking about fantasy.
So like 400, is it, wasn't it?
No, it'd be higher than 400.
Yeah.
It'd be like just under 500, I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
So keep an eye on. Actually, that's probably too much for a mid.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll keep an eye on him if he's destroying preseason. Josh Dunkley, I want to start next year in the midfield. Just a huge ceiling. Dan Houston might get a more mid-time, but he will get him as a defender, so he could be one to watch in defence.
Could he be a defender mid in Supercoach?
He'll be a defender mid next year,
Yeah, cool.
And then Callan Ward did an ACL. Was it an ACL? Did some sort of injury, and then scored 4, so he'll be heavily discounted. So he might be 400k or something like that.
Yep.
And if you can get like a 9,500 average for a 400k player, I'd take that.
Yep.
So your 2020 watch list?
Yeah, I agree with most of those. Callum Ward definitely. See how he goes pre-season. I've written down Billings, old classic Billings. I mean, I'll probably start.
He'll be a midfielder.
You reckon?
Does he play forward ever? He's a pure wing.
Yeah, he mostly starts on forward flank, is what I've thought. But yeah, we'll see what he gets. But if it's midfielder, then no. But if he's forward mid, yeah, I'll probably start him. Other ones I've written down to watch that have had a good sort of back end of the year this year is Hunter Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Saints' best, besides Rowan, he's the Saints' best young player, for sure. And then Jordan Dawson, a bit of left field one. If he's a defender, he could be a decent pick because I think Frico tweeted something last week since Dawson sort of come in and he's been gulling a bit in the back line and it's taken away from Lloyd scoring a bit. I can't remember the exact tweet, but yeah.
I think I read that. Lloyd's
Yeah,
averaging under 100 since or something, 97,
yeah.
98, since
And I think
Dawson's been
yeah,
there.
Franco tried to say it was because of Dawson, pretty much. So yeah, we'll see.
So he's averaging 85, Jordan Dawson.
Yeah,
His numbers after the bye are pretty good. That looks like I'm guessing it's like a 95 average, maybe
yeah, I think so.
100.
Mm.
That's interesting. Keep an eye on him. I do like Hunter Clark. I really do.
Yep, he's a gun.
So now we'll get to the questions from the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, please feel free to. I think you guys are doing, I'm not doing it, but you guys are doing EPL fantasy.
Yeah,
Keeping
we're
you
all
guys
doing that
busy.
at the moment. Yeah, it's something to do for the boys. Well, even you get bored of Supercoach this time of year. There's not much you can do. So yeah, we started that. I think we're going to be doing an NFL and NBA as well if people are interested. So get on board.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't even know that. I think for me, Supercoach
Yeah,
is.
that's your go-to, mate.
I don't really understand. Like I made an EPL team, and you guys are like, it's the worst thing I've ever seen. I had like Mesut Ozil and like all the guys
Oh
I knew. Like, no, Jordan, don't do that.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
we get to some of the questions in the Discord, which you should all join. Uh, this is from Lee's one. So he asked for the top 10 best picks, but we'll just go through just not necessarily top 10, but a range of the best picks this year. So number one is I'm going to say Lockie Neal,
Yeah.
especially in the front half of front half of the year. Out of the 600k guys, he was the best one. Although we've had a lot of pretty good players in that price bracket. Second, I have Marcus Bontempelli, who I think was very low ownership, and this one slid by me because he had a full preseason, unlike last year and the year before, due to hip problems, and he's going to win the coaches award. He's
Mm.
he's unbelievable. So, and he's a shout for the Brownlow, I think.
Yeah, I reckon he'd be top 3, if not top
I
5.
actually
Yeah.
think Fife's going to win the Brownlow.
Probably. Yeah. Best.
But your tip for the
Yeah.
Brownlow, just quickly?
Yeah, 5. I reckon Neil's sort of tapered off a bit. Getting a couple of tags. Zorko's probably got a lot of threes
Yeah.
lately. So yeah, close though. Be close.
I also have Travis Boak. Unfortunately, he missed that game, which I think a lot of people had a really poor forward cover this year. Chalmers has been okay, but a lot of the forward guys have been pretty poor for rookies. So if you had that, donut. But nonetheless, for 470k, Boak's been very good, 108 average. Zach Williams has been a fantastic pick. He was pretty popular. And I also have someone who I didn't expect to do that well, James Warple. Now, he was averaging 90 2 weeks ago, but now it's up to 96. Sam Mitchell was pretty much one West Coaster flag, I reckon, with his midfield coaching. And he's turned Warple into a star. Maybe a star's a stretch, but Warple's been a fantastic pick for 400k. 390k, actually. So, yeah, I have Neil, Bont, Boak, Williams, Warple. I didn't
Yeah.
include Marshall because he wasn't a starting pick.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna go 4 of yours. And the only one I'm gonna say is, I mean, if you started Jake Lloyd at 600k, he hasn't missed a game, has he?
I think for
I know
total
he's tapered
points,
off a bit, but yeah,
yeah,
he's been pretty good. Out of the 3 best defenders, which is Whitfield, Lloyd, and Hearn, as far as average goes, he's been the most. He hasn't copped injuries, whatever. Um, he's been the best of those 3. Is what I'm trying to say.
he's clear number one for total points by 250 points.
Really?
And second for total points is Tom Stewart,
Really?
and then
Okay.
Rory Laird, and then Rich Sicily, who should be suspended by now, and then a few others. Williams is 7th despite missing 2 games. A lot of the
That's
defenders
right.
have missed games. A lot of them.
Yeah, that's true. So that's why I like to give Lloyd, as one of the top picks because he
Yeah.
hasn't. So, all right. Next one's from. Do we go to Seb? Seb said, "What's the best time to use your last trade?"
I,
I don't
now.
know. Yeah, I mean, with 2 rounds to go, it's it's pretty much either this week if you got an injury or just wait the one more week. And there's always round 23 carnage. So
You can't really predict scores at this point, so
nah, no.
I wouldn't worry too much about that. Just hold it for another week. Maybe you get an injury next week or something.
Yeah.
So Hamstring asks, what should I be looking for in the next few rounds for next year's starting pick? So a bit like watching Dunkley in the back half last year. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can take out of it at the moment. Like you can look at guys that have had a bit of a role change. So can't really think of anyone at the moment. Hunter Clark, like
Yeah,
having a
that's the
look
one
at
I was
Hunter
gonna
Clark,
say. Yeah, something
just
like
look
that.
who's playing well in a certain role.
Yeah.
Um, Especially like defenders, I think, because defenders, I think the midfield's more demanding. It's harder to be more consistent in the midfield.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell, but yeah, look for a few role changes. When looking at things for next year, I think preseason is everything. History of their scoring capacity as well is important, but mostly follow the stuff in the preseason. But yeah, just look for anyone that's had a role change. Like even like you
Yeah.
said, like Jordan Dawson. I don't know if he played anywhere other than the back line, but yeah, things like that. So
Yeah, he
look
actually
for
kicks a couple of goals, so yeah, I don't know. I think he plays wing, but yeah. I agree with all what you said there about sort of role change. Next two I'll probably group together. Polly asks changes you'd make to the game, and then Champ asks any changes to the scoring of Supercoach you'd like to see next year. Um, give that to you first if you want.
one of the best things about Supercoach is they have barely touched the changes to the game, and that's a good
Yeah,
thing. So um, I
there's
wouldn't.
nothing
There's the
glaringly
only
obvious, really.
there's only one thing that I would like to change, and that is I would like some sort of I'm not sure, I can't find the word, but when a player gets a mid-game injury, I'd like something to be done about that. And I know there's not a lot that can be done about that, but it just pisses me off. I've had about 10 of them this year, and it's just so
Yeah, I think
frustrating.
yeah. What
Can't
what
deal with
Lake
it.
Dog tweeted something the other week. Shout out to Lake Dog. Like if a player has a certain time on ground percentage, like 30 or less, which your player only really gets that if they get an early injury. Then you get the emergency score. But uh,
Yeah, that's a
there's a
great
few
idea.
things. There's a couple of things that could go. I mean, what if your emergency's 20, like a rookie, and what if this under 30% time on ground player is like got 50 in the time he was on the ground? What happens then? So I don't know. It's a tough one. I think. I
I
think you
would
just
just say, just take the rookie score and just
yeah
leave it at that because the chances are the rookie's probably going to do better than your mid-game injury. Then a 30% time on ground, that's like what, 1.5 quarters, probably
yeah
something like that.
a quarter yeah.
So maybe yeah. So I think that's a really good idea. I
Well,
just
I
think
mean yeah
like remove elements of luck where you can because luck is a big part of the game, but it's just frustrating when Sloan twice, although he scored 80.5, which is interesting. Um, but he would have had above 30%. I think 30% would be a good threshold. So
yeah
that's the only thing I would change. Some sort of, I don't know if this is a word, but contingency plan for when somebody goes down.
yep.
Anything
Um,
you do?
yeah, I don't mind that. I always think of captaincy too. That because it just pisses me off when you get a terrible one, but it's part of the game. It's a bit of fun.
So like get rid of the loophole, you reckon?
Not even the loophole, captaincy altogether. But
Oh yeah, that's actually, I don't mind that.
I mean,
It's
it's
part of
there's
the,
merit. There's merit to it because it skews the scores quite a bit, but it's part of the fun as well.
yeah.
Um, leagues are a huge part of Supercoach. That brings that into it. Um, So yeah, I wouldn't change that, but I just thought I'd mention it.
Have to
Um,
make less content as well, will be easier.
yeah, it keeps people on the site more as well, changing their captaincy around. The other guy was said about the Supercoach scoring. What anything you would change to that?
Yes, tackles are worth too much.
Yeah.
If you get the ball and you get tackled, the guy that tackles you gets more points than you.
Don't
That's
you get
bullshit.
hard ball get or loose ball get?
Aren't they worth like 2?
I think a hard ball is worth 4.
I, I still think the guy that wins the ball should be getting more points than the guy that tackles.
What do you reckon? Tackles 3. You can't have them as 2.
3
Yeah,
was too
not 2.
much. I don't like
Yeah.
4. I don't agree with that at all. So that's something I've thought of. Honestly, even hit outs to advantage, I think they should be 4, not 5.
Yeah, okay. Because ruck scoring's a bit big, but
I think it used to be 3 and they changed it to 5.
that's right. Yeah, it was.
So I think find a middle ground for. Then we'll have to pay for the rucks anyway. I don't know, 5 seems like a lot for an effective hit out. Like, especially like when Gorn plays like Sinclair. Gorn gets like a billion points against him because there's nothing he can do.
What about this week when there isn't even Sinclair? They play
Uh,
Swans Friday night.
yeah, vice cap. Yeah, I might straight captain Gorn as a flex. Anyway, any changes you changed to scoring?
Yeah, I haven't really thought about that one. It's a bit of a on the spot, but I agree with those two. Maybe you suggested. Um, there's not many others. I would say maybe a goal. What's the goal worth? Aren't they like 8? Um, a goal could be worth. Do
You
you reckon
think
a goal
more
could
or
be worth?
less?
Yeah, more like 10.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like goals, like especially
goals are
how
hard
many
to
goals?
kick.
Yeah, and how many are kicked these days? His scores of like 70 and 80, and there's only 9 goals kicked. Like, big part of the game. I don't know. We'll see. It's obviously not going to change. They don't care what we say, but yeah, maybe like a goal worth 10 could be.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You see what Darcy Fogarty kicked 5 on the weekend. He didn't even turn up in Supercoach. Like,
Yeah,
that's a bit. He's kicked 5 anyway.
might actually have to pick a key forward. Probably still
Yeah,
no.
probably still no, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's something else we learnt. No key forwards.
Tomahawk, mate. He's been alright.
When they drop in price, but not as a starting pick.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not.
Last question. Any pods on the agenda for next year? Supporting differences for next year. I love a pod. I don't think you started any pods.
No, I'm pretty boring.
That's so boring.
I got the pods now, mate. They're not doing anything for me. So
Yeah. You have bad pods though.
yeah, exactly right. That's why I hate pods.
I'm really not sure. It's so hard to tell at this point. Um,
Yeah, it's such a long way out.
I really don't know.
I got one top of my head, but only because I'm a Richmond fan.
Go
Caden
for it.
Short.
Is he playing at the moment? I don't
Yeah,
even
check
know.
he's scoring pretty well too.
That's interesting.
See what happens with Basher too, because especially if Basher retires, I mean, he
Short has
probably
a
won't.
5
Probably
run
won't
average
now.
of 72.
Yeah, it's not great, but he's had a couple of decent scores. I mean, it all depends if Hawley's gone. So if Hawley's there next year still, maybe not, but I don't know. I only mentioned him because he's like one of my favourite players.
I think next year forwards are going to be hard. We're going to have to find maybe a pod in the forward line. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
we're going to lose Dunkley. We lose Danger, Boak, lose Tim Kelly. Rowan's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Heaty's going to be another one selected forward again. Or
Yep.
Danger was.
Daniel goes to defence. Yeah.
I don't
Not
trust
sure
Daniel's
pods.
hamstrings.
Wow. Yeah. After hearing that, yeah.
Jade Gresham. That's my pick. Jade Gresham.
Yeah.
I don't
Not too
love
bad.
it, but talent is there. Another preseason. Not 100% Sean Gresham, but he's the one I'd pick if I had to pick anyone right now. So I believe that is all for the pod. No more questions.
No,
Nothing else
that's
to
it.
add.
No, mate. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Hopefully you can finish the season well. And hopefully the Tigers can win the flag, mate.
Oh God, no! Please no. I'm going for the Cats actually, because I know the Crows aren't going to make it, and if they do, that's not going to be pretty in the
Why
first
the
finals
Cats?
week. King Patrick, mate, he needs a flag.
King Patrick. He lost
All
the king.
that, yeah. I think after this year, he likes fishing and having kids and stuff now.
Yeah.
So,
He's handed it over to McRae.
yep, McRae. Well, Tom Mitchell might come and have something to say about that. I think it's McRae though. Just got to keep Libba out of that midfield. He can go forward for a bit. Anyway, thanks
All
for
right.
joining us. It's been a pleasure, Emma. Enjoy Greece.
Yes, mate. Cheers. Been a good year of the pods. We'll definitely be doing more next year.
Lots of pre-season stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'll leave a bit of that to you. You love your preseason stuff, but yeah, definitely during the year. Get in the Discord as well, as Jords has said. There's already what did I say, 300 users in there. Plenty of us talking all the time. And yeah, I'm sure it's going to build next year. We get a few leagues going, a couple of cashies, all that sort of stuff. So get on board.
Yep, should be good next year. So yeah, in the off season, I think not everyone, but a lot of people will stick around, do other fantasy, and just talk about whatever. I think for a while we were playing, I forget the game, Scribble.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
for a
pretty
bit of
fun
fun.
for a bit. I think we're looking for a game to play together, but I have some ideas. But yeah, if you want to hang out, it's a nice community.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, thanks for tuning in this year, and see you guys soon.
See you, mate.